Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Hope you're doing well. Happy Friday. We're going to be doing live readings on the channel this evening. We will be doing some tarot readings. So thank you guys for your patience. We'll give everybody a couple minutes just to kind of shuffle in before we get started. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see the stream. Let me know that you can see me. It's really helpful for getting this out into the YouTubes. All right, so if you guys are new to my channel, I'm a Western astrologer. I also work with tarot, and we alternate every Friday, and we do live readings by donation. There's a QR code right up here. You can scan that. It's going to take you directly to my PayPal. You can make a donation for your reading. It's $20 donation for one card, $40 donation for three. That's in US dollars, or you can consider joining my memberships. If you do, you're gonna get a reading once a month with me on one of the lives. You can choose if you want tarot or astrology. So do consider joining those memberships if you guys would like to. And it's the first week of October. It's hard to believe that it is October already, but those of you guys who are level 3 memberships, if you guys wanna cash in on your readings, you can. Just as a reminder, also guys, we are going to be having eclipses this month. So there are eclipses that are going to be coming in around the 14th as well as the 28th. So we will be doing astrology right around the time of those eclipses. So yeah, some of you guys may hold off to cash in on that until later. Let's see who's in here. What's up, Gibson? Hey, Melinda. Hey, Dave. Hey, Victoria. Hey, Laura. Amanda, PG, Tara, Shay, Jeanette. It says hello from Denmark. Hey guys. I hope you guys are doing well. How's the start of your weekend going? Let me know. I want to give a big shout out to all the level 2 and 3 members. Those of you guys who donate monthly, you support my content and me being a full-time creator on YouTube. People like Lika, Still Ripples, Dina, Claudia, Anne, Deanna, Blunt Hair, Jessica MV, Deanna, Coco, Hey Honey, Catherine Murray, Enchanted Crossroads, Jen, Sharon, Susanna, Tonya, Barbara, Penny, Steve, Paula, Angela, Willow, Emma, Susan H, Taliba, Jackie, Hera, and we've got Nancy, Jessica Martinez, and Susan Wexler. Some of you guys have been supporting the channel for 2 years. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for making it possible for me to be able to do this all the time. And obviously, those of you guys who like to come and hang out. It's funny, I was just talking to some of my students because I teach tarot and astrology. And there was a couple of people saying, I just hang out here on Friday nights. They just like to come and watch readings. They want to learn more about tarot and astrology. So if you guys want to just hang out, you can totally do that. Hey, Susan's here. Enchanted is here. You made it. Start of the week is calm, says Melinda. Yeah, we'll be having, like I said, the eclipse readings right around the time of the eclipses. Your girl does not do readings on eclipses. I don't do it. These eclipses are opposing a lot of my personal planets too. So I'm on a strict no working kind of focus during these eclipses. The first one is in opposition to my moon. The second one is in opposition to my Mars, exactly per the degrees. So I'm going to lay low a little bit this month. But I will be doing the readings. They'll be before the eclipses. So as you guys can see in the chat, we're going to be probably doing it next Thursday, not Saturday, Thursday. I'll post that in the community tab. If you guys want to stay up to date with what's going on with that stuff, click the bell button below, subscribe so you can see what we've got going on. We're always posting stuff in the community tabs, especially when we have like courses and other things going on. If you guys haven't already seen that, I did put out horoscopes for the month of October. So they're out for each and every one of the 12 signs. We also have the very first eclipse video out. There's a solar eclipse video in Libra. I did a chat with Lori from Lunatic Astrology. We talked about the lunar eclipse. So I did the solar, we did the lunar eclipse together, and I have an eclipse webinar. So there's tons of free information out about the eclipses this month, so that way you guys are prepared. We're already feeling it. But if you guys missed my webinar, you can head over to my website, upbeyondtheveiltarot.com. You guys can pick up that webinar. It's 3 hours long. I talk about how it's going to affect the world, where the path of the eclipse is, people who are going to be impacted by the eclipse out in the world who are well-known people. And then I go in depth into the 12 signs, pull some tarot, and also give you several pages worth of information on how to work with the eclipses, what rituals to do, what herbs and other things to kind of work with, and why it's so significant for karma in relationships, guys. South Node solar eclipse in Libra with Venus in Virgo in opposition to Saturn. So many people are breaking up. So many people are separating. So people want to know why that's happening. Check that out if you guys want more info. All right, so yeah, some people are 2 years. Nancy says, can I redeem my monthly reading? You got it. Just let me know what questions you have for me. I will take you first. I'll add you to my list. And in the meantime, if there's any other level 3 people that want to cash in for the month now, let me know. Otherwise, let me give you my master list of who has already popped in to get a reading. So I'm going to ramble off some names. So let's see, who do we have here? All right, so we've got Allura, Rachel, Felicia, Michelle R., Malika, I just don't have your question, Heart of Justice, Victoria, Amanda, and Susan. What's up, Susan? Ooh, all right, so we're going to start with Nancy. If you guys want to get in the queue, scan the QR code. Let me know if you've gotten in the queue. I will let you guys know who's coming up in advance. I'll usually call about 3 people out at a time. And I appreciate your patience because sometimes when we have a number of people in the queue, it can take a little bit of time, but we won't forget about you. All right, so Nancy wants to know, is Justin ready to move forward romantically with me? Let's take a look. All right, it was in this order. So we've got 4 of Swords, 9 of Coins, 3 of Swords. To me, this kind of reads like, you know, really focusing on you, not really focusing on the end result of what's potentially going on with this person. For me, when I read the cards, I like to see, you know, the various people that are in there, like their gender, right? To get an idea of like who they're identifying. So the 9 of Coins being in the center position for me is like, what are you doing to focus on your life right now? What are you focusing on in regards to your stability, your productivity, your career, your health? This is also about not feeling reliant on an outcome. I know that sounds weird because you're asking about, you know, the outcome of a potential connection. 4 of Swords talks about there being like a slow period of either being a slow burn or feeling kind of like lost or not getting a lot of clarity or feeling like potentially there may not necessarily be mutual like feelings. Generally, this is a card that comes up that talks about rest, recuperation, taking a break, like not really coming together, being kind of like a bit of like a slower period in a relationship. This is also a card that deals with like mental state. So I'm wondering, have you guys even had conversations revolving around whether or not you like each other? Did you tell him how you feel, but you feel like you haven't really gotten a lot of feedback from him, or he hasn't really confirmed or denied if he's interested? The 9 of Coins in the center position tells me right now there's a lot of strength in you being like, I know my worth and I'm not going to settle, or I'm not going to waste any time worrying about whether or not you want me or you're interested. As I've said before on like other videos, sometimes when this card comes up in a relationship like reading, it's about the icing on the cake would be a relationship, right? So, you know, a person coming in or your connection with him being the icing on the cake of a life that is already feeling fulfilled. I'm wondering if there's a sense of giving too much energy or too much focus as to whether or not you feel wanted or whether or not he's claiming you. Because the Nine of Coins doesn't really care about status or claim in regards to a relationship. It's independent, it's comfortable, it's confident. It's not really worrying about what they're doing with another person. They're more focused on what they are growing, what they're obtaining, and also enjoying their time with himself, right? The Nine of Coins is like a well-kept woman who spoils herself and she enjoys all the riches. And there's lots of signs and symbolism connected to this card that deal with freedom. So I'm kind of feeling like, you know, right now, the Three of Swords to me is feeling like if you were to push the situation, you may not like the response and you may feel a bit hurt, or you might feel a bit heartbroken and not get the response that you want from him. However, the Three of Swords in the future position can also be saying that in the future it is possible that there could be just some disappointment because you're feeling like he's not giving you clarity, or he's taking too long, or, you know, he's not making you feel wanted or validated. The confirmation card that I got for you is the Eight of Swords. So that's at the bottom of the deck, which essentially also means that, you know, you are potentially delaying what could be getting your answers sooner by going, I'm just going to sit around and I'm going to wait until he decides to choose me. I'm going to stay in this position, or I'm stuck. You know, I can't move on and I don't want to ask him, or he's not willing to give me some kind of feedback. You don't want to be stuck in this situation. Notice how many swords are surrounding this beautiful yellow, happy, vibrant card, right? And this is also about not staying in one situation for too long and putting your life on hold or putting your other interests on hold because you're waiting to see if he's going to choose you, right? So the answer in a general way would be no, he's not ready to move forward, but more so because I think it is possible that what you're seeking or how you want to be treated or the life that you want to have, he may not be able to give that to you right now. It's not so much about interest. It's about talking about being mentally stuck, or maybe feeling like he can't see his worth, right? The Three of Swords and the Eight of Swords are both cards that deal with things that are invisible, like that you cannot see, that might not meet the eye. So I'm also wondering if there's some issues here revolving around going like, I know my worth and I'm ready, and like I potentially want a connection and like I want you, but you might be dealing with a person who's like working through healing something. Maybe they haven't kind of fully kind of grieved something yet. There can be a sense of them also not being open to love or not seeing their worth. And so there can be a sense of there being mixed signals because you're like, hi, open for business, really interested in you, like I'm ready, I'm here, which is very obvious with your Nine of Coins, but you might be dealing with somebody who doesn't read the room, like they can't quite tell that you're interested in that way, or maybe that they're so stuck in their own stuff and they're still kind of in the process of, I'm not even going to say healing, it almost seems like being in a situation where they are not aware that they're lovable, or they're not aware that they could be wanted. And this could potentially be some draining energy because of all the cards that are around, you know, the bright kind of colored card that can kind of dim that. The clouds kind of roll in and things kind of get a bit gloomy. Have you talked to him about like previous hangups that he's had in relationships? Has there been a situation where, you know, he has said to you that he's been taking a break from dating, that he's been refraining from being with anybody, that, you know, he hasn't really been out and looking? Because a lot of these cards seem to suggest that he's either not seeing that there would be interest, or he's not like really like looking for it. Nevertheless, be careful with that Three of Swords being in the final position, because it does make me feel like if you potentially go into this and you know that you're ready and he's not, or he hasn't healed something, there is the potential for you to get hurt because somebody's not capable of communicating, showing up, you know, telling you, hey, I'm not there yet. The Eight of Swords, with being bound and also having the eyes bound, seems to not be aware of the fact that they can get themselves out of that situation, or they may not be aware that their lack of communication, their lack of being connected also, and being able to see that somebody's interested but they cannot actually, you know, meet them in the middle, can also cause some pain. So moving forward with him, I would definitely continue to keep your options open. And I would also say, pay attention to his actions, not his words. Because all of this can all be words where, there's excuses or there's like communicating and like talking, but you're not really seeing any physical movement. You want to be paying attention to his actions, because his actions are what are actually going to give you a clear indication as to when he may be ready or when he's kind of warming up to the idea of having a much more kind of romantic connection. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. Obviously, difficult card, right? 3 of Swords is like, that's the warning. That's like saying, tread lightly if you think it's a potential situation where he has some stuff that he still needs to heal. Yeah, I'm not pushing him. I'd rather wait. Well, that's the right move, especially with that 4 of Swords, right? Hey, Sasha, I got your question. Thank you, Shay. I will add you to the queue. Let me bring this a little bit closer so I can see better. There we go. All right, cool. So let's go off my list now. All right, so we have got Allura. You're welcome, Nancy. Good luck. Allura says, hey, Candace, Cancer rising, Aquarius sun, Scorpio moon. My ex-husband has reached out and has since stopped. He's a Sagittarius. Can you tell me if anything will come of this? Well, let's take a look. Sounds like Pluto getting ready to go direct in your 7th house. I don't think a lot of people realize what's going to happen when Pluto goes direct. It's coming up here, I think, like in the next week or so. Wow, six of coins crossed with the Temperance card. I have a question for you. Do you know if he's like in a program? I know that sounds kind of weird, but the Temperance card was your confirmation card. So 6 of coins, right? This is about give and take. This is about trying to instill some kind of balance. This can be about paying something or someone back. I don't think this is necessarily a financial thing unless, you guys are still sorting out some finances. But for me, this makes me feel like he's returning because he has something that he wants to offer you, or something that he wants to say to you, or something that he wants to like heal or kind of smooth over. 6 of coins is about paying it forward and being able to have a fair exchange with another person. And if you notice, there's 2 people that are like asking for something. Sometimes this is a card that comes up for asking for forgiveness, because the scales can represent, finding the balance in relationships. The 2 people kind of being on their knees are also asking for some assistance, or they're asking you to forgive them, or they're asking you to, like allow them in some capacity. This doesn't necessarily seem like it's like a relationship card. It doesn't necessarily seem like it's like a, like let's get back together card. But to me, it seems like it's about trying to do the right thing, or trying to work the balance. The confirmation card, though, that Temperance, which is also a card of balance, healing, but it can also be a card of sobriety. So I'm wondering, like, do you think it's possible he's working with a therapist who has said, hey, in order to better get closure, or if you're feeling guilty, or if you're feeling like things were left unsaid, it might be a good idea to do that. He asked for forgiveness, see? Oh, did you tell him your first marriage is for love, your second is for marriage? I mean, bummer. If he got married, and if you guys got married and got divorced, and he got married again and he's getting divorced again, sounds like he needs some assistance, right? Maybe he was hoping to get some feedback from you. Feeling guilty, yeah. But the Temperance card, it is about like reflecting and like timing. And I honestly wonder if it's a situation where he's realizing that he has a lot to like work on, and maybe he was hoping to get some kind of like feedback or some direction from you. It's a bummer. It's kind of hard sometimes when you have a relationship with somebody and you're really trying to work at it with them. I can only imagine like being married and doing that. and then they just can't do it. And then you watch them go and then repeat the same mistakes with somebody else. So sometimes, unfortunately, people have to have those lessons to like really maybe realize and appreciate what they had. And these cards are not negative cards. These are positive cards. And I kind of feel like, you know, I would be careful with how much, because this is about moderation. I would be careful about how much you want to be his support system. That's really the only thing that I would kind of like add as an input. Obviously, if you want to accept his, you know, apology, you want to forgive him, you want to smooth that over so it's like water under the bridge, that's great. But I would be really careful with this, because the Temperance card sometimes comes up where it's saying like watch for overdoing it, or, you know, like give it time, like let things settle in. And it is potentially, you know, like he's going back towards somebody who really understands him and knows him. And maybe he's looking for somebody who he's got some kind of like familiarity with, because he's seeking support and comfort. But both of these cards are saying be mindful of upsetting the balance and like how much you give versus what you get. And obviously, you know, hoping that he gets some kind of healing throughout this process, because that's really what the Temperance card is about. It's very hard, and she married him for papers. Well, that's a bummer. But also like legal stuff comes with this too, you know? And also something I will say about this is that this is about, when this card comes up, when there's like a relationship that's like ending, I'm always quick to be like, well, there's two sides to every story, right? There's a give and take here. And so there's going to be two sides. So if he's coming at it with, she married me for papers, she took advantage of me, like da-da-da-da-da-da, like I'm upset, what do I do? Temperance is saying be careful about how much time and effort and energy you want to put into this, and like be mindful that there's two sides to the story, right? I'm sure you know that you married him. And you married him and you divorced him. Bummer, but also be mindful of the balance, okay? Because that can be kind of draining. How South Node in Libra is that? It's like you go through, you know, a separation, and then you hear that somebody else is going through it and they come back. Difficult for you. Did he ask you how you're doing? Just kidding. Hopefully that's helpful for you, but yeah, I don't think there's anything that's coming of it. I think he's just looking for somebody who knows him well. We've got Rachel. Rachel says, one card reading, I'm a Libra rising, going through a super awkward stage with my hair and confidence and identity overall. When will this become more positive, and how soon can I fix my hair or make another change? Thank you, Rachel. Well, Rachel, let's be honest. Okay, you get a little trigger happy with the scissors during Venus retrograde, because you're a Venus ruled chart, and Venus has been retrograde, and she is still coming out of the shadow, which means that there could have been some things that you did on the back end of the shadow that you're not thrilled about. And Mars is going through Libra right now, so that's making also a lot of Libras anxious, cutting hair, slicing fingers, all that fun Mars stuff. All right, so let's give Rachel a card on when she's going to move through this super awkward stage. Astrologically speaking, she says, yes, I did. You should listen to my horoscopes. I said wait until Venus enters Libra in November, then you can make changes. It's okay. You'll be feeling better in November. Couple things. One is there's a solar eclipse in Libra on the 14th. And that's going to feature Venus in Virgo. So it's going to be your 12th house, which means you're hiding out. And Venus will oppose Saturn, which you're like, I'm never going back to that hairstylist again, or I'm never doing that again. Like there's something that you're like, never again, and I don't want to be seen. Then you're going to have another eclipse, which is going to be in Taurus at the end of the month, also ruled by Venus, and Venus will oppose Neptune and square and trine Uranus. So beginning of November, astrologically, let's see what the cards say. I like this for you, which usually works, but didn't this time. Same. I had some similar things. I had to have a nice little heart-to-heart with my hairstylist before she did anything. So King of Swords, right? Interesting. This is like a masculine energy. This is talking about directing how you communicate, how you think. This is about being bold and being seen, right? Perhaps this can be talking about bluntness to a cut or something that's been cut too short. It can talk about something that's more masculine. Not to get like too Hollywood reference, but did you guys see the stuff with Kim Kardashian? She like buzz cutted her hair and like cut off all of her eyebrows. So she has really thin eyebrows and she's got a really short like buzz cut. And then she did a bunch of photos. Not a huge fan of the Kardashians, but I have a point. She's a Libra. And so South Node's going through Libra. She's having eclipses in Aries. You guys are going to see for the eclipses in Aries, there's going to be more of like a streamline towards masculine style, shorter haircuts, less makeup. Pam Anderson was talking about how she went to Fashion Week. She didn't wear any makeup. So it's what is quick, what's efficient, what is, what's fast, right? Aries. And so it's also going to be about what is bold or what's bare, and what's more masculine. So you're gonna see a lot of this stuff. Basically, I feel inclined to tell you, like, just own it. Just own it right now. I can tell you as soon as Venus gets into Libra, the beginning of November, you'll be feeling better. But Knight of Swords knows wherever his mind goes is where there's action, right? Whatever he's thinking about, he ends up talking about. Whatever he is writing about ends up kind of manifesting. So something to kind of think about is like, if you're focusing so heavily on what you don't like or what you don't want to be seen, or if you're kind of being mean to yourself, right? You're actually making the whole process a lot more painstaking. 5 of Wands coming up. So it's kind of saying it's it feels like it's going to drag out the process, but also it's not very kind to yourself. My advice also is, just like roll with it. Like I hate to be like this, and I know that Libra risings are like really focused on appearance, but South Node eclipses through your first house means there is an identity shift. You are going through a total change in regards to your identity. There can be a bit of an identity crisis. There can be a bit of like, why did I buy that? Why did I change my hair? Like, what am I doing? And there is like a really spiritual side to the South Node, which is about less is more. And like the beauty of being able to kind of start over, right? I saw a lot of Scorpio risings the last couple of years completely shave their head or cut all their hair off or like whatever. And like your Libra risings, you can put some clips in it, pull it back, wear a wig, right? That could be fun. What if you wore a wig for a couple, or some fake bangs for a couple months? Yeah, hair woes are real. Venus is not happy in Virgo. She's picky. Lily says, how many are in the queue? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right now. Okay. What's up, Alex? Hey, Beverly. Good luck. Roll with it. Do you want to tell us what you did to your hair? Did you cut it yourself? Did you go for that box color? Victoria says, wig life. I so badly want to, I have an Aries moon and I'm a Libra rising, and I so badly want to cut my hair. Like I just want to cut it all off and just wear a different wig every week on YouTube and just confuse people. I think that would be like the most amazing thing ever. Okay, so we've got Felicia. You're welcome. Good luck. Get some castor oil. Get a board brush. You'll be fine. And then I'm going to take Shay. You will be next. So we're going to do Felicia, Shay, and Michelle. Felicia says, 3 cards. I'm not sure if you need any information. My birthday is September 14th, so you're a Virgo. I'm open to whatever you want to hear. Well, I love that you gave me all your info. Oh, hey there. Taliba, you let me know if you want your question. I can get you in the queue. Yeah, Rachel, buzz it. Do it. If you haven't done it, do it. I shaved the whole half of my head one time. My hair was like longer than it is now. It took forever to grow out, but I loved it personally. Yeah, Taliba, let me know your question. And I'm going to do Felicia. So Felicia, you sent me all your info. That's really awesome. But we're doing tarot. So do you have a specific question? Those of you guys who want to get a reading, you can get in the queue if you scan the QR code right up here. It's somewhere over here. It's invisible for me, but I know it's there. And you can make a donation to get a card reading. All right, so Felicia, if you're not here, I will do a general reading for you. In this order. Oh, there's that 9 of coins again. I have a feeling she may be love, spirituality, career. Okay, gotcha, boo. Yes. Rachel, we already did. So we have Felicia, Michelle, Malika, Heart of Justice, Amanda, Susan. Let's see. I have to update it. Sorry, guys. Yes, Shiza, I got you. And Sasha, Taliba, Tiara, Yolette, Dawn. I got all you guys. All right, so you had questions, Felicia, about love, spirituality, or career. Well, it's interesting because for me, it feels like you're in a bit of like a transition phase, right? There's something that's like changing here. I love that you're asking about multiple things. Intuitively, I feel like the 6 of Swords is saying you're in limbo, you're getting ready to make a transition. There is a sense of you moving on to a period where things are going to be a little bit calmer. Sometimes that's about travel. Sometimes that's about traveling in a sense of your beliefs and how you look at things. I also feel like the Ace of Wands can be a card that is about career-related matters and trying to pursue things that feel that you're more passionate about. It can represent new beginnings, and especially things that are going to be coming during the fire months. So maybe be paying attention to closer to the second half of November, the second half of March. Those might be 2 times where you're seeing those energies kind of pick up. Interesting because knowing that you're a Virgo, I don't know your ascendant, but you know, so much of what's going on in your astrology right now is like big changes with relationships, refocusing on self, right? So I like the 6 of Swords and the 9 of Coins because it's saying maybe, you know, it's all about the journey that I'm taking within myself and figuring out what's going to make me happy, or what I'm going to be the most passionate about, or where I'm going to have the most adventure, or how I'm going to be able to kind of get tapped into a creative energy. I also think about how you're getting ready to have like retrogrades at the end of the year, and you know, some Virgos will move, you will relocate, you will see that sometime in the spring or the summer. That may be complete. So whether you're starting it at the end of the year during the retrograde, or you're seeing this kind of manifest closer to like April, May, June, a lot of you guys are going to move, and you're also going to see potential changes with your career because you're going to have Jupiter go into Gemini next year. So there's a lot of like energies that are going to shift. We're going to see Saturn in your relationship house, Jupiter in your career house, like. And for a lot of Virgos, it's going to be like, well, a relationship's going to have to wait, or it's going to be at a distance because my career is like getting back on track. I love that 9 of Coins in the center position because I think it's basically saying you're focusing on what you're growing. You're focusing on what's going to make you feel the most abundant, what's going to bring you the most pleasure or the most security. And I like that kind of together with the Ace of Wands because it's saying that it's almost like a much more comfortable, satisfying, pleasurable life is the motivation for being like, I'm going to move, I'm changing relationships, I'm changing jobs, I'm launching that business, right? Something like that is kind of coming up for you right now. It does seem like it's probably going to be about a 6-month process. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You know, 6 of Swords for me is always a card that I'm like, okay, what can I focus on making small changes now? And how can I make these changes throughout the next several months so I can get from point A to point B? And maybe that's the eclipses, right? For you, you're having like South Node eclipses. That's going to be in Libra. So it could definitely be about like releasing things, releasing people, letting stuff go, selling stuff, and like having a lighter load. So if you want to travel, move, and relocate, go back to school, it's going to be easier for you to do that. But know that it's going to take about 6 months to go through that transition. I would really encourage you maybe to work with fire, especially if you're feeling like you're getting a little bogged down or you're getting a little sluggish. You know, meditating with candles, setting intentions and burning them, maybe like crystal wands, things that you can use to redirect your energy so you're really focused on what you're creating, and give yourself that 6 month, you know, kind of like timeline to be able to focus on what's actually coming to life in the spring, because it looks like it's going to take about that long. But really loving seeing that 9 of coins, because it's kind of like saying, all right, I'm putting everything else to the side. Like, what do I want? And then going after it. And that's really what you're going to be doing for the next couple months, right? Hopefully that's helpful for you, giving you some direction. All right, so let me take Shay, and then I'll take Taliba. I got you, Taliba. Shay says, I'm wanting insight on if I should suggest or ask the man I'm interested in to spend time together outside of work. He is kind of the boss, and we've been flirting heavily and getting to know each other. I'm not sure how to proceed. All right, so we'll take a look at that. Thank you, Felicia, for your follow-up. Everything's changing. Final breakup after instability. I'm growing my business and trying to take it in a major way. I had a Kundalini awakening on Wednesday. Well, there's that fire energy, girl. Keep on keeping on, because to me it looks like it's going to be really great with some of the things that you're going to be doing on your own. Saturn stuff. We are both Virgo sun, Cancer moon. My rising is Libra. His is Sag. Both of our Venuses are in Libra. If you guys want to get a reading, get in there, get in the queue. We're going to leave it open probably for like another 10 minutes or so. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to show you these cards. This is so ridiculous. This is like such a I'm trying to hook up with my boss type of spread. But it looks like it has the potential to be happy ever after. I love that you guys have Venus to Venus. That's great, especially as you guys are experiencing eclipses. I also really do like the fact that, you know, you're a Libra rising and you're getting ready to have eclipses that are going to continue to keep happening in your 7th house. Very strong, right? Here's the thing that I would focus on here is the devil is coming up, which is talking about temptation. You know, falling into patterns, right? And not being able to break patterns, and potentially it turning into something that's like, this is the new normal, that we flirt, we have this encounter and it keeps happening, but like, do we break out of that? I also wonder, with the devil card coming up with the 2 of Cups, like how much do you know about him? Do you know a little bit about his past history in relationships? Can you confirm if he's single? That's the only question I have with the devil and the 2 of Cups. Can you confirm if he's single? Because sometimes, touch wood, when that card comes up, it can be indicating like, whoa, watch out for the temptation. You know, there could be something going on here where even though it's a really good emotional match and connection, are you sure that he doesn't have something else that he is currently committed to, right? Because this could be talking about relationship, family. You know, 2 of Cups can be talking about, you know, coming together and, you know, having a drink, having dinner, whatever. Okay, cool. Then in this case, it's making sure you don't get stuck in the pattern, right? Of continually being like, I'm never moving out of this cycle of us just, you know, kind of flirting, but never really evolving. The devil card also talks about the temptation and it being like a Saturn related energy, and that it's somebody who potentially represents like a boss or a superior or something that's like taboo, or it's a no-no, getting kind of sucked into that. There's no other negative cards surrounding this, so I don't really think it's going to be something that's going to be a problem, but I do feel like there may be a need to, if you guys do end up hanging out, or, you know, it looks like you're going to say, hey, you want to get together, you want to have lunch? You know, something that's going to be a little disarming. So it's not like, hey, do you want to go out and have a drink with me? It's like, okay, let's test the waters here. 2 of Cups is friendly. It's basically just being like, you know, let's meet and exchange ideas or communicate. It's about being open to an offer. It can be the beginning card of a relationship. So it can be saying that this is the beginning of something that can be sweet and kind of innocent, and just getting ready to kind of exchange and feel each other out. And then the 10 of Cups can be a card that talks about like happiness, fulfillment, like happy ever after, relationships, true love, commitment though, and like in a long-term sense. So what I like about the two positive cards following the Devil is saying like if you take that chance, the chance may actually end up paying off and you might realize you have a lot in common more than you think. But to me, this is also saying that there is a lot of boundaries and a need to be cautious with how you approach this, and it may even be something that comes up while you guys are, you know, hanging out or having dinner or hanging out in any capacity, being like, yeah, like you're my boss, right? Or you guys will acknowledge the fact that there is some no to this in some way. And I don't know if it's like an office policy or if it's just the fact that you guys are being a little cautious because you know that he's a superior. The Devil does represent a Saturn energy. So it represents boundaries and limitations and like superiority. So somebody's going to acknowledge that throughout this encounter. And I think that that's important to kind of acknowledge that going into it. So you understand that you're moving forward in a way that is slow and also respectful. So in the off chance that you guys don't want to make things weird at work, you have a common understanding about, you know, maybe how you guys are both going to be approaching this. But I would say, yeah, do it, because 2 of Cups, 10 of Cups does seem to indicate that you may be very emotionally fulfilled with making the decision to kind of like go against your better judgment. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Okay, I've got you, Taliba. Let's see. Malika, what is your name under? I see you here. Yeah, I have you. So you're going to be... I've got 2 people before you, Malika. All right, Tabila. Let's see. So I got to move out, but I don't know where. I don't hate Vegas, but I could leave. I don't know. We were about to close my mom's estate, so I got to get my stuff from there. That's right, Virgo, Libra rising, loaded 12th. So this was the Mercury retrograde in your 12th house that was wrapping up the estate. This is the eclipse on your ascendant where you have to suddenly move. This is a retrograde that's going to be in your 4th. So intuitively, I feel inclined to tell you that if you're not sure about where you want to go, be very careful. Be very careful, because a lot of Libra risings with the eclipse and the squares to Pluto in their 4th house are going to suddenly have to move. And if they move too quickly and they don't think it through or they're not sure, then you'll move. And then by the time you get moved in and then the retrograde starts in December, you're going to be like, I don't really know if I like this place. And you might move again. So with that being said, if you're not sure, you could do something temporary until the new year, right? If you're open to that. I know that might sound like a hassle. I don't know, but you could do something temporary until the new year. The Knight of Swords is what popped out for you. There's that Ace of Wands again, same position. So we've got Knight of Swords, 6 of Cups, and the Ace of Wands, which tells me that literally you will come back around to the idea, or you will consider or talk about going somewhere that you've been before. So are you thinking about going back home? Have you been going back and forth about whether or not you would return to like a part of town that you used to live in? Like, where is the returning factor coming from? I was gonna go to Michigan, and I can't snow. Okay. So, I mean, here's the thing. It is possible that you will go back there, and maybe you would consider going back there for like a period of time, right? Like the Ace of Wands is like, I would make a move suddenly and like go and stay there and like stay there for a year and then like stay through the summer and leave. So I don't know if you have a place to go back to, but like you're gonna make a very quick and sudden move. Obviously, you know that. Knight of Swords, though, is talking about like making a decision, signing a lease, you know, being on the fly, maybe being mobile. 6 of Cups is about going back to a place that's familiar, going back home. This can also be about childhood memories and connections to people that you know, and reconnection, even potentially with relationships. And then the Ace of Wands makes me feel like if you don't want to stay there throughout the entire season, you could go back just until the new year, and then you could, you know, figure out where you're going to land. Intuitively also knowing that part of that retrograde for you is going to really significantly square all of your Virgo placements, you have to ask yourself if you really want to be home, right? Both back to Michigan or back to Henderson. Well, the Wands is somewhere warmer. Yeah, there's another wand. Yeah. The wand is somewhere warmer. It's not somewhere cold. So, you know, I would say if you wanted to do that, you could, but be very sure about where you move, because it's very, very likely that if you move somewhere and you haven't sussed out the relationship, and if you have not, if you have not sussed out the neighborhood, and if you have not really made sure that that's where you want to be, you could have second thoughts come the end of the year and be like, why did I move back here? Right? So you need to be sure. But if you can go home, and I know that sounds like a hassle, but if you go home and you can do that temporarily and put stuff in storage, if you've got a place to stay, and you could stay there and then be like, well, do I want to ride it out and stay here into the spring? Would it get better? You could do that, because this to me seems like you will go somewhere familiar until you decide where you want to land. So whether that's Henderson for a short period of time, signing like a sublease or like a month to month, or if you go home until you figure it out, you're going to return back somewhere. But I think you're going to do better in warmer weather. Honestly, that Ace of Wands is warm. It's not cold. I'd have to sell here, and that kind of holds me up, right? Oh, that's right. So you have your place. So why is it that you're having to move then, if you don't mind me asking? Why do you have to move? We're going to leave the queue open for 2 more minutes, guys. 2 more minutes. I know you guys keep asking me if you're next, but I'm going to do it one more time, and then I'm going to take a break because I have to be able to do the readings. Let's see. We've got Michelle, Malika. We have got Victoria, Amanda, Susan, Sasha. More Miss Fogel. Or actually, I think that's you. I got you now. Tiara, Yolette, Dawn, Shiza, Connie, and Felicia. Yes, I hate the snow deeply. I have stuff at mom's, a house full of stuff there. Okay. Well, I mean, like, look, if you decide that you want to go there, any which way you go, you're going to go somewhere temporary. So if you want to do something shorter, then you're probably going to go home. If you want to do something temporary that's going to be in Vegas, then yeah, go to Henderson. But you're going to do better somewhere warm, long term. So if you decide that you want to keep that place up there, if you want to go back to mom's place, that might be something that you do seasonally, right? But I don't necessarily see you staying wherever you move to for very long. I guess that's what I'm getting at. I think you will be there for a short period of time. Knowing also that you're going to have a bunch of conjunctions next spring, there is a potential that you're either moving for or spending more time with another person. So it doesn't hurt to kind of stay flexible until you get to that point. Right? Because her house was my storage. 12 house things, right? Yeah, I would say you're probably better off, to be honest with you, going with the warmer climate. So make sure that you like the area that you're going to be in Henderson. I don't want you to move there and be like, now I remember why I moved. Because that's kind of the feeling that I get looking at that card. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know. So circle back next month because I want to hear where you land. Where you land. And also, don't be trying to move in mid-December. Do it before mid-December. Okay? Hopefully that's helpful. All right. So we've now got, sorry guys, going back and forth a bit. We've now got, let's see. Michelle, and then we'll do Malika, and then we'll do Victoria. Michelle says, I'm Virgo moon and rising. I'm wondering about my ex-boyfriend. He's a Pisces sun and moon. I've been having vivid dreams about him. I can't help myself from hoping for reconciliation. Wondering what you think. Virgo moon, Virgo rising, Pisces sun and moon. Maybe it's the Saturn transits. Maybe it was Venus retrograde in your 12th house. Boom, boom, boom. Well, to me, it almost seems like homeboy is like sending out like SOS calls in the astral. The Magician card can be talking about as above, so below. So it can be talking about like some kind of connection or thinking about you or wanting to connect with you. And going back and forth. So this is for Michelle. Going back and forth and trying to, you know, like connect to something that can give him guidance. Sometimes the Magician is not aware that he's connecting to other realms. It can also be about manifestation and bringing things into reality. So he can be going through a period of like, you know, reevaluating, thinking about the past, trying to make productive changes, trying to focus more on bringing what he does want into his life. And maybe you're kind of getting hit with a little bit of like the psychic crossfire. 10 of Wands makes me feel like he's going through it though. Challenges, doing it by himself, maybe reflecting on, you know, when he had a relationship and a partner to help him through things. Moving, feeling like, you know, the weight of the world is on his shoulders and like questioning how much longer he's going to have to go at things on his own or do things by himself. And then the the King of Coins coming up, it does talk about being grounded, overcoming things. Let me ask you a question. When you guys broke up, did you break up because you felt like he didn't have a sense of direction or, you know, he wasn't being as productive as he could have, or he was struggling to kind of figure out, you know, his purpose or, you know, where his life was going? Because it does seem to me like with the King of Pentacles that, you know, he is going to come out the other side of it and he's going to be more mature and stronger and, you know, more so financially and professionally sound. There is a growing up that kind of goes on, right? When you think about the story of the tarot and the Fool and how it really starts with the Fool and going to see the Magician and getting all the tools that he needs, and then he goes through the major arcana, and then, you know, obviously there is an evolution as you go through all of the royal kind of trump cards. And, you know, the King of Pentacles is like the most mature, the got it together, the most financially sound, healthy, grounded, practical. So there's a real kind of like finally growing up and maybe I think reflecting on what he had in a relationship with you, you know, maybe how much you supported him, realizing that life was a little bit easier when he had somebody to guide him. I think all Pisces really need some kind of people in their life with really strong Virgo energy to kind of help them be a little bit more so better directed, right? Because the opposite signs can sometimes attract. I don't really get the impression that this is about reconciliation per se, but I will say that, you know, being a Virgo moon and rising, you've had a Venus retrograde in your 12th house, so it's not unusual to have a lot of vivid dreams about somebody from the past and be clearing some kind of karma revolving around a relationship. Him being a Pisces sun and moon, you know, the Mercury retrograde, which has been in Virgo, could quite literally be about people from the past kind of, you know, connecting to him and thinking about him and whether or not somebody reaches out or not. So to me, it makes sense in a sense of timing, but I think that this is going to be either, you know, him kind of going through what he's going through and being on the up and up and trying to kind of grow through some of the experiences that he's had in the past, some of which probably involving you, and or it being a situation where, you know, if he said to you, I'm not ready yet, or, you know, I just need time, or I need to figure things out, or I need to work on myself, if the relationship ended with any of those conversations, then there is a very good likelihood that now he's doing that work actively and you might see that he is in a little bit better shape to be able to kind of connect. But Are the reconciliation cards coming up? No, they're not coming up. There isn't, you know, the Lovers card. We're not seeing the Six of Cups. We're not seeing, you know, like the Justice card. Some of the cards that I would see that's like, oh, this is a turning point that could bring that. I think you're getting hit by a psychic crossfire. But like I said, if you guys left the conversation at, give me some time, I need to work on some things, let me figure it out, you know, then there is a much better chance that he's now figuring it out and potentially more likely to be on the path of being ready for reconnection. But I feel like if it's going to happen, it's going to be coming from him. And I think that that's important, being that, you know, you're a Virgo rising. It's like other people with, you know, Saturn in your 7th have to grow up, have to mature. They have to go through what they need to go through in order to more so, you know, meet you halfway in a relationship. Hopefully that's helpful for you and giving you some insight as to why you're having those dreams. All right, so we have got Malika. Let me pull up your question here. I saw you sent it. Which way will my marriage go? It's fine now, but we had a fallout at the beginning of June. Sun in Leo, ascendant Libra, moon in Scorpio. Okay, so you're a Libra rising, Leo sun. So Venus has been going retrograde back and forth over your sun. So it's been changing your relationship and your goals with men. And you're having eclipses in your sign of Libra. So the south node there is about doing some personal clearing. And your moon is in the 2nd house. So let's see for Melinda. I'm assuming that was for Malika. Or am I saying this wrong? Hold on. Melinda, yeah, that's the right one. Okay, so what's going to go on with your relationship? Well, certainly, though, being a Libra rising, those South Node eclipses are not for the faint of heart, because you're coming through the 6-month period since you had that solar eclipse in Aries. So if you're a Libra rising listening and you're like, why are things so fucking crazy right now? It's because you are seeing the completion point of where you had an eclipse 6 months ago in your relationship zone. That was ruled by Mars. Now you have Mars coming through your ascendant, so it makes you spicy, and it's hitting the opposition point to that eclipse that we had in April. So it's bringing up more of where you're getting frustrated with other people and taking action or cutting things off. And it's squaring Pluto in your 4th house, which is drama at home. So yeah, it's still real for Libra risings. It's still real. So it doesn't matter if you had issues in June, if you're having issues in April, if you had issues last week, they're still brewing. Oh, I accidentally pulled an extra card. Okay. So we've got Knight of Pentacles, the Star card, and the 5 of Cups. This was the confirmation card. You are about 2 or 3 away, Amanda. So the first card that we get is the Knight of Pentacles, which does talk about kind of like laying low and trying to smooth things over and trying to be a little bit more cautious in terms of how you guys are with one another. I don't know what the deal is with your partner's sign, if they have like any earth placement. It does seem to me that there's like a lot of like slowing your roll, right? Knights are usually very quick to move and take action and say things and do things depending on the element. But the Knight of Coins is the slowest, the most cautious, you know, really thinking things through before kind of making any moves. So this tells me that there's also been more action revolving around, well, what can we do to fix it, right? This is a card that's about solutions. This also has strong connections to Virgo. And it can be about, you know, what can I do actively, or what am I bringing to the table, or what is my involvement in, you know, some of the issues that I've been having, which I would say is really important as a Libra rising, because not a lot of Libra risings are realizing that a lot of the frustration that is coming out in relationships right now with Mars in your sign is it's coming out because there is pent-up frustration with how you have not handled things or how you have not addressed things. So now Mars goes through your sign, it squares Pluto, and it's volcanic. So it's still happening in the next week or so. I do feel like this is small acts of kindness, and maybe that's, you know, Venus moving into your 12th house where, you know, little things that you can do to be more considerate. It can also be about going and doing some kind of healing. It can be great for therapy, especially with like an eclipse that's going on at the end of the month in your 8th house, and Jupiter's in your 8th house. That's wonderful for therapy as well. The Star card's also a card of healing. So this is saying, you know, like trying to heal, not just moving on and just sweeping things under the rug, but being like, no, like let's genuinely try to fix things, because some of the frustration might come from not really going deep. It's just kind of handling the surface issues. This can also be about friendship, collective, nurturing, maybe other people. And so, you know, part of the eclipses in your 7th house, they're not just about your relationship with your partner, but your relationship to yourself, your relationship to other people socially. So it can mean that there is a sense of trying to focus on ways to be able to maybe interact with other people to kind of, you know, kind of calibrate the relationship so there might not be so much codependence in the relationship. Then the card that I got was the 5 of Cups, which is really a card for me that's like saying like, it's not so much about not getting along. It's not so much about not agreeing. Now the real problem is people's feelings being hurt and not really being able to move on. So whether things were said or stuff that happened, that 3 of Cups is basically crying over spilled milk, being like, you know, wanting to keep coming back to, well, you said this, but you did this, but you hurt me, and like not ever really getting out of that cycle of, you know, trauma drama. And with this card, you have to be careful because, you know, the 2 of Cups is sitting upright. So it's saying you're so focused on what has happened or what was said or how your feelings were hurt that you can't see the opportunities that are really kind of still around you in regards to being able to kind of better support the relationship, beating the relationship down rather than building it up, right? And so then the confirmation card that came up was the 6 of Coins, which is saying both parties need to be doing their due diligence to basically focus more on how you're building each other up rather than how you've hurt one another. And also, you know, there's some pain when you get to, you know, the core of what's been going on, and maybe both parties have not really been fully addressing things that have been bothering them for some time. This can also be a card that indicates like needing some kind of support that can come through to kind of like help you. So that might mean that you talk to a couples counselor, or you go to therapy, or, you know, you have a friend that you're talking to, or somebody that gives you some kind of feedback. So you realize like, hey, you know, like really this is my best friend. Star card represents your friendship. Like, I don't want to hurt this person. I want to, you know, make them feel better. And in turn, I know we're going to have a better kind of exchange. But really, I think at the core, there needs to be a sense of either one or both parties really addressing where their feelings have been hurt, and then make the decision consciously to be like, we addressed it, we're moving on. Because if it keeps coming up, there's definitely going to continue to keep being some problems, and nobody's ever really going to be able to kind of like grow within the relationship. But do I see things getting better? Yeah. The key here, though, is on that final step and being able to forgive and move forward, not holding grudges and not wanting to kind of cling on to the past, right? Especially 3 of Cups can be some petty stuff. It can be some stuff over other people. It can be some stuff over feeling jealous or, you know, possessive, or feeling like they're prioritizing other people over you, right? And so for, you know, Libra rising to Libra rising, Mars in your sign is about getting frustrated about things that you have let slide for too long. And so then it kind of just like pops up, right? Hopefully that's helpful for you. I have Victoria, Amanda, and then Susan. All right, so Victoria says, I'm about to have Venus, Lilith, and the moon conjunct my rising ascendant in Virgo. Girl, tell me what's up. Libra eclipse will square my moon in Capricorn in your 5th. It'll be in your 5th house. Well, so, you know, interesting to have watched Venus and Lilith kind of dance all summer long. When Venus and Lilith were in when they're in Leo, it was much more like drama and lover spats and wanting attention and like recognition, and there being like a lot of like showiness with the squares. But my interpretation of having Lilith and Venus in Virgo is more about tuning into your earthy side and learning how to work with Lilith in a way that's about maybe like radical self-love and care, because Lilith is radical, right? It's different in that sense. I also wonder if this is about doing like more like herbal magic and like witchcraft related things. Those oppositions are going to start to kind of come up on Saturn. So it also might be about embracing your sexual side, but not immediately sharing that with other people, because Saturn's in your 7th. So there's a lot of being like, look, but don't touch. Right? And like, I work really hard to look this good and to remain this pure, and being very cautious and careful with like who you allow yourself to be intimate with, actually, because that Venus Lilith is very sexy, right? So there can be a sense of like enticing, teasing people, but not just allowing yourself to be intimate with just anyone. After all, Virgo is like pure, not in a sense of being prudish, but being selective and valuing your independence, and also knowing your worth and really wanting quality. So if you feel like you're working really hard with what you're eating and taking care of yourself, and you're working out and you're looking good, and you meet some dude who's like really attractive, but he's like gross and not eating well, or you don't feel like he's like really making an effort when it comes to his appearance, or he's, doing drugs, or like whatever, like Saturn and Pisces things, you're going to be like, oh, I don't want that in my aura. Like, no. So that's more of how that might play out personally. So I got for you the Emperor, the Knight of Cups, and the Page of Wands. So obviously, having Venus in your sign is going to make it rain men, obviously. That's kind of what happens when Venus goes through your ascendant sign anyway. It's bringing the goddess to you, right? So it's very attractive. It's very alluring. And I do think that you're going to really feel the Saturn opposition a lot more strongly than some other rising signs. So there might be a number of people that you're kind of dealing with. The Emperor card for me, it's like, I can't remember who I had this conversation with the other day. I think I was talking to my friend Sasha, and she was asking me about like pulling cards. And I was like, well, like, of course, who you're going to want. Because she pulled the Emperor card in a spread, and she was like, oh, what does it mean? Like, is this a bad thing? And I was like, no. If I'm going to pull cards, I would want to have like King of Pentacles or the Emperor, because those are like the daddies, right, of the tarot. They kind of have their shit together. So the Emperor card coming up can be talking about in regards to, your energy, feeling your natal Aries energy, like really feeling that. I know that, that's all getting activated in your chart right now, and it's going to be about bringing somebody in who can maybe keep up with you physically or professionally, or just in terms of like your lifestyle, somebody who's just like a go-getter. This can also represent a time for you where you're just very much in your personal power, and there is like a sense of maybe feeling your masculine energy. I think that's pretty normal for the North Node in Aries right now, being more assertive and kind of like taking charge. It can indicate there being some connection that you may have to a fire sign. The Emperor coming up with the Knight of Cups can talk about somebody who's approaching you, somebody who's, trying to get your attention. They're kind of trying to woo you. The Knight of Cups can be a person, but it also can be the beginning of a romantic connection and somebody asking you out to dinner or for drinks. The Knight of Cups is also someone who's generally pretty romantic, so they'll have a tendency to kind of tell you the things that you want to hear. But that being mixed with the Emperor card for me is like somebody who walks the walk and talks the talk. It's not just somebody who's trying to get your attention or get your number. It's like somebody who's like, very confident, and also they can be the whole package. And then followed by the Page of Wands. So it's interesting to see this whole like daddy, and then you've got like this young man, and then you've got like this like little boy. So like it can represent 3 different people that you kind of encounter throughout this transit. One can be, somebody who is more aggressive, and then there might be 2 other ones that are just kind of like whatever, like, just like little blips on the radar. But the Page of Wands with the Emperor really makes me wonder if you're going to be meeting an Aries. And if there's going to be somebody that you meet while you're in the process of like working out, or like walking or hiking, or like doing something active outside, that you might connect with somebody and meet somebody very suddenly. You know, that North Node being in Aries in your 8th house is definitely about sexual energy and vitality and like what other people can bring you. So it also acts as kind of like an attractor. It's like a magnetic energy in the 8th house, and you can bring people in who can like kind of, you know, just really pursue you. But the page does talk about some new opportunity that might arise for you to go and either meet somebody through some kind of physical activity, or while you're in the midst of getting to know somebody, you actually actively start doing something together, a hobby together. Maybe you have some kind of common ground when it comes to work as well. But it does look like if there is a connection, it would be something that would pick up and move very quickly, because this is obviously the element of fire. So it has that energy of they have their act together, but they're also like kind of nice and sweet and romantic. And like also like they say they're going to make plans, they do it. So, you know, you're going to want to watch as Venus goes through your sign, because when it goes through your sign, it'll first oppose Saturn, where you're kind of like, nope, step back. And then it's going to move into an opposition with Neptune, where somebody's going to be like probably really trying to get your attention and being like, hey, why aren't you calling me back? Where are you? What's going on? And you're going to see all of that trying out to, you know, Pluto in your 5th house and Jupiter and Uranus in your 9th. So you definitely will meet people who are culturally different, diverse, people who are traveling, lawyers, maybe teachers, educators, foreigners. And it'll be interesting to see all of those energies kind of play out, because really the ball is in your court. You want to see who's gonna be seeking you out, and also who's gonna make it throughout the transit. And as Venus comes into your 2nd house, it's gonna be like a little bit more solid, right? So good luck with that. Definitely interesting transit you're gonna be having. So we have got Amanda, Susan, Sasha, Taliba. We've got about maybe 8 or 9 more people. All right, so Amanda says, I split up with my boyfriend in June. We've had no contact since then. He reached out today via text, but I have not responded. Does he still have feelings for me? What are his intentions by texting me? It's so funny. I keep telling everybody, I'm like, guys, this eclipse that's coming in mid-October, people are going to be like, is it a retrograde? What's going on? No, it's not a retrograde, but it's going to feel like one. Venus is opposing Saturn, people. People are starting to realize that they have been shitty and selfish all summer long, and now they're trying to come back because it's cuffing season. That's what's going on. So you're going to see a lot of people from the past with that South Node eclipse too. All right, so let's see. What does Amanda's ex want? What does he want? He texted her. She's not responding. Did you put him on read? Did you turn your read receipts on? Did you let him know you saw it? Ooh. I'd be careful with this one. 7 of Swords, 3 of Coins, and the Moon card with the 10 of Swords crossing. I have 2 phones, you got me. I love that, that's brilliant. Here's the thing, right? So sometimes I have to do readings where I have to kind of skirt around stuff, and I have to be mindful of how my delivery is. This is not going to be one of those readings. So I don't know what the deal was with how you guys broke up. I wouldn't trust him any further than I could throw him with some of these cards. I genuinely feel like something on his part that he was participating with ended, and he's coming back around because he's trying to see if there's still a connection there, or he's trying to see if you are going to take the bait, because it's looking like he's either lonely or he's trying to connect because something that he was involved with just recently ended. Okay, that's my opinion. So 7 of Swords can represent, you know, somebody coming around that is not always the most trustworthy. Okay, so it's a reason to kind of get a little like on edge and have your guard up. This is a card that can be about not seeing everything. In the past position, it makes me wonder, like, have you potentially had issues with him being honest in the past? Was there some stuff that was going on that you were like, you know what? I can't trust you, or this is kind of shady, or like you're not giving me all the details. Like, was there a lot of like cloudiness revolving around how you guys broke up? That's what I would wonder, right? And then the Three of Coins is being like, but maybe we can work on it, but maybe there's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance, you know? And Three of Coins is not a bad card. It does kind of say like, there is familiarity there. Maybe we have something we can build on. So in the back of his mind, it could also mean that he's like, well, it didn't crash and burn, and, you know, it hasn't been too long, so like maybe I can go back because, you know, we worked well together. So there is a sense of him looking at it in a practical way. But this is not like cups coming up, oh, I realized I screwed up, I missed her, you know, I'm still in love with her, I want to win her back. That's not what's coming up. This is him realizing like there is some sense of security there. It is possible if I connect with her that it could work. Then we have the Moon card coming up, which is saying like, not anything is what it seems. There is something that is being concealed. You're not getting the whole truth here. It is possible that, you know, some of this stuff could be revealed to you in a dream. Intuitively, you already might be kind of like, I'm not so sure about this. And then the Moon card is also talking about like stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you would never know. It's hard to see, right? Because the Moon card it's about being at night. You can't see everything in the dark. And then the Ten of Swords is basically saying that there is like a sense of feeling, like feeling like not sad, but like, oh, you know, like I'm something ended, like my ego got crushed in some way, or like somebody let me go, or like somebody dumped me. Let's see. So you're telling me there's a chance. Where are you? Where is Amanda? Is she here? Is she listening? Let me know. But basically, like, no, girl, no, Like you can ask him and be like, what do you want? Right? You can be like, what do you want? I don't think he's gonna tell you, quite frankly, because the Seven of Swords is not gonna give away all the information. But you might see that he tries a little bit, and he tries to be like, oh, so what have you been up to? How have you been? What's been happening? Like trying to like kind of move things along. I would not go for this, because this Ten of Swords makes me feel like he just got dumped, or he just had something that did not go in his favor, and he's looking to connect with somebody who's going to make him feel better, that's going to stroke his ego. This is a hard pass for me, personally. Are you here? I'll give you a minute to respond. Susan, Sasha, Taliba, Tiara, Yolette, Dawn, Shiza, Concha, Felicia, you guys are all on the queue still. You guys keep asking. I'm going to keep telling you, but I can't do it every reading, otherwise it's going to interrupt their reading. Looks like Rachel and Katrina got in there before the close. Okay. So if you watch this back, Amanda, would not recommend personally, but you can be like, what do you want? And you'll see he'll try. He will try. All right. So we have Amanda. And no, we just did Amanda. So we've got Susan. Most Scorpios have a second or a burner. Oh, I love this. Okay, so Susan says, is the Virgo coming back? If so, is it real or trickery? Revenue plot. I like it. So let's take a look, Susan. Is the Virgo coming back? Oh, Amanda, just before I go to Susan. Amanda, girl, you got 29 degrees Virgo rising. So you have Neptune on your descendant. No. No, the answer is no. And he's a Sag rising Gemini moon. So he's always got more than one thing going, girl. No, I wouldn't do it. But you can try to get him, like, maybe to Venmo you or send you some Uber Eats. Maybe pay your bills. Put him to work. guilt the Cancer in his chart. All right, so let's see. Susan, Is the Virgo coming back? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so tonight's card of the evening is brought to you by the Nine of Coins. There's a lot of strong, independent women in the chat. Press 8 if you receive that. 8 for lots of money and sexiness. So obviously Nine of Coins is like getting to that point where you're like, I don't care if you do or you don't. Even if you do, you're not showing it, right? What's funny is that this is very clear to me that there is a sense of if and when that person does come back, right? Because I think emotionally he's already kind of like around, he's hanging around. She's telling him what's up. Like, look at the queen. She's got her hand in the air, her swords in the air, and she's talking at him. She's like, what is your deal? And the King of Cups can be a man that has emotional connection. There's feelings, like he's around. I do feel like this is somebody who might be kind of hanging around waiting to see when the best time to kind of shoot their shot would be. Obviously, you know, air is going to be more masculine, water is going to be more feminine. So there is a sense of him feeling this out, kind of trying to gauge, well, when would she be most receptive? When can I connect with her? You know that, you know, Venus is, you know, going into your 12th house and it's going to hang out there for a hot minute. That could literally be about connecting with some kind of karmic, you know, Virgo related person. It's going to make oppositions to Saturn. So it's going to be about whether or not you let them into your psychic sphere, if he's invading your dreams, if you feel like he's just randomly kind of energetically popping in. Perhaps maybe the queen is really adamant about setting intentions or setting some kind of emotional boundaries or energetic boundaries with being like, if you're going to come correct. Like, don't be trying to show up in my dreams or trying to, you know, do some bullshit way of communicating with me. Like, actually, you know, come through or don't waste my time. She will be very assertive about this, basically, is what I'm getting at. I also think that, you know, the King of Cups is somebody who's still, he's got 2 chalices in his hand. He's hoping to be able to be in a situation where he can share a meal with you or a conversation with you, or that you are going to be willing to accept his love, or if you are receptive to how he feels. So that in itself makes me feel like, yes, I do think that that's possible, that he's going to come around. But he's kind of probing, maybe psychically trying to see like when a good time to, you know, kind of come through would be. And the more, as much as I hate to say this, but it's almost like the more that you don't care with that 9 of Coins, the more likely he is going to show up and like pop in, because he might be like, oh, I could kind of tell you were forgetting about me. Like, here I am, right? And because you are a mid-degree Libra rising, correct me if I'm wrong, but that eclipse that is going to happen at the end of October should be in your 7th house, Placidus. So that can be a real definitive decision revolving around a relationship. Well, what's going to happen with that eclipse? You're going to see Venus start coming into a trine with Uranus. So that can be, you know, sex magic, or, you know, cutting something off or dissolving something. It could also potentially be with the opposition to Neptune that you're like, no, this is not healthy for me. And I don't personally feel, with the queen being in the center here, that you're going to allow him to come back and disrupt your peace. That you're going to allow him to disrupt everything that you've been building or kind of working on, or, you know, cultivating for yourself. That he potentially could be somebody that could threaten that, right? And could keep you from being able to feel like you're on the up and up. Because to me, it almost seems as if you're just about on your way out, and he's going to come back in and be like, don't forget about me. And then you're going to let him have it. Energetically, I feel him, just know, yeah. And so, you know, that happens though. And sometimes when you cut cords, people they'll just pop back in and be like, hey, because like their ego can kind of like tell that you cut them off because you're not thinking about them, wanting to connect with them, putting energy towards that. And so they can quite literally feel, right? He's having his Venus return. So also if his Venus is, I mean, is it in Leo or is it in Virgo? Because if he's having his Venus return, then it's with the Saturn opposition, right? No, this is Susan's reading. I just did your reading, Amanda. I just did it. I'd said, nope, but similar, but different. Similar, but different. Yeah, no. I mean, even if he comes back around, no. Be very protective of your space. That's my advice. And, you know, the Queen of Swords can be about him calling you, texting you, emailing you, you know, if he's walking past your house, calling your name. Be very careful with how you respond to things, because to me, this seems like you're really not putting your guard up, you're keeping your guard up because you're trying to protect your peace, because there's a sense of being like, I don't want to do that anymore. And confirmation card, if you needed one, is the Page of Swords. So, you know, a page and a queen, right? Pages are going to run around like a little child, right? Like a jester of sorts who doesn't know how to communicate, and they're not very mature in how they're relaying messages or having anything to say. So it almost seems as if he's really sensitive to the fact that, like, you know, you're not going to let him back in unless he has something worthwhile to say. And he's not going to. So I think part of him knows that he's shying away from even doing that because he knows that he doesn't have anything to bring to the table and you're going to cut him down. So instead he's kind of marinating and sitting on those feelings, and you're kind of getting hit with it. Yeah, time to get some black walnut. Probably, especially for like Libra risings, that would be a good thing. Get some black walnut. You can like boil it down, and you can take a bath with it in the dark. So you like light a white candle, and then you boil down black walnut hull and like hyssop, some sea salt and some lemon, and you can just bathe in it like right before the eclipse. And what you do is you light a white candle, take a bath in the dark, and then as soon as you get out of the bath, blow out the candle and drain the tub. It's like a really good like purging and purification ritual that you can do. So it's sea salt, lemon, black walnut hull, and yeah, black walnut hull, sea salt, yeah. And you can do a white candle, you can do a yellow candle, but that would be a really good idea for just like clearing it. And if you don't know if anybody's doing anything, always just do like return to sender as like a good just in case. You could do like that if you needed to. Sasha, where are you, Sasha? What questions do you have for me? Yeah, so the eclipse it'll be in your whole sign 8th, but it's going to be on the cusp of your 8th house positive. So it's about clearing out some kind of like relationship. If you have a burner phone, you are the red flag. I wish I had a burner phone. I do so much damage with a burner phone. Are you kidding me? Where's Sasha? Where you at? Let me know what your question is. And then we're going to have Tiara and Yolette and Dawn. If you had a burner phone, you wouldn't live here. Who has burner phones? Who has burner phones? Drug dealers? That's hilarious. If you had a burner phone, I would have found it. Don't worry about that. I would have definitely found that. No, I just said I could do some damage with one. I don't think I've ever had a burner phone. I would definitely have a pager though, for sure. I think that'd be hilarious. Sasha, are you here? Sasha? Check the attic. I don't do stairs. I don't do what are they? Ladders? I don't do ladders. Okay, Sasha, are you here? Are you here? I'll come back to you. Tiara said, I met John recently and went on one date. Will this move forward? Okay, Sasha, send me your question and I'll do your reading next. So this is for Tiara. I met John recently and went on one date. Will this move forward? Oh, 5 of coins. So obviously this is a card that's a challenging card. It's about being left out in the cold, not feeling like the connection was reciprocated. Confirmation card is the King of Pentacles, which is interesting. Did you feel like he was a little like standoffish? Was it a little like distant? Was he like not very affectionate? Are you still waiting to hear from him? Have you not heard anything back from him? What's the deal? Also, what sign is he? Because this is a lot of earth that's coming up. 5 of Coins is like wanting to be invited in or wanting to be invited back in. Did you guys talk at all about like having another date, about seeing each other again? Because to me, there is this feeling of somebody waiting for the invitation or somebody who is waiting to, to go on another date, to reconnect. When I asked for the confirmation card of like, what's the deal with the coldness, I got the King of Pentacles. So it can mean that this is somebody who maybe is not the quickest with following up in regards to the date, maybe is not the quickest also with warming up to people, to showing some kind of affection, that he may be a little guarded. The King of Coins can be, because he can be a little bit more traditional, or he could be a little slow. It is possible. And I feel like in terms of it moving forward, 5 of Coins is not the best card. It can mean that it is going to take some time to get somebody to warm up to you, or, you know, there may be a sense of you waiting to hear from him, and he may not be the person to pull the trigger and actually say, hey, let's go out again. And I think that that's actually the case, because the King of Pentacles is the confirmation card. So do I think it's going to move forward? If it does, it's going to be slow, and there may be a sense of you needing to like let him know that you're wanting to see him again, or that you want there to be more of a connection, or that you are interested, because I don't necessarily know if you're going to get that from him directly right off the bat. You know, it makes me wonder also, like when the King of Pentacles comes up with the 5 of Pentacles, it can be somebody who is very focused on their financial life, their career, work, their responsibilities. There can be a sense of them not always being the most checked in when it comes to their social life or what other people need. And so I wonder if there's like something going on here where something's not clicking, where he's maybe you've caught somebody who is not dedicating as much time to trying to find a relationship or dating as maybe you had thought. That might be something where he'll do it when he makes the time for it. He'll do it when he feels like he can justify going out and spending time or spending money with somebody, right? It is very possible that that's the case. After the date was distant, yeah, he got kind of cold, you know, he got kind of cold. And to me, honestly, I kind of feel like, you know, usually with this card, because this is an earth element, it's feminine. It should be somebody who is like receptive, or somebody who is like willing to be like, yeah, let's make plans, you know. This weekend he said he was going to be with his brother. Yeah, personally, I'm not feeling as optimistic about it, because I feel like if it's going to happen, he has to be the one to make the effort. And I'm not saying that because he's a man. It's because you're not getting what you need. You put yourself out there, you're not getting what you need with the 5 of Coins. So he would have to be the one to do that. Does not seem like it's going to either move forward or move forward very quickly. The burner app, I'll have to look. What's up, Kiki? Okay, so we have Sasha. Sasha says, currently I'm having everything going down. I'm waiting on news. Can you please let me know if the news is going to be to our benefit? Will they leave by October 15th? Can you please have a look? Okay, no, that's not the person I'm looking at. There's Sasha. Okay, wrong person. Sasha says, I want to start a new stream of income that requires heavy social media and collabs with others, but it's very taboo. OnlyFans. Is now a good time to launch? Okay, let's take a look. Not so sure with Venus coming into an opposition with Saturn. Venus trine Jupiter, which will happen, especially Venus in Virgo, sex work, right? I mean, that's probably a better time. I know I covered that in my horoscopes, but let's see what the cards say. But I would definitely not do it while Venus is in opposition to Saturn. And I know that that's coming up here pretty soon. Pisces sun, Pisces rising. All right, so let's take a look. This is going to be for you, Sasha, in regards to your OnlyFans stuff. Oh, so that makes sense, Majestic. You got a Capricorn King of Coins. So slow, but you got to let him come around. Okay, so this is for you, Sasha. Page of Swords and the Eight of Cups and the Four of Coins. So let me ask you a question. What's the deal? Did you start this and walk away from it and come back to it? Like, what's going on here? Did you originally sign up for this or originally talk about this and then like jump ship and then decide to come back? Sasha? Yeah, Majestic, just fall back, just wait, because you're not supposed to be making any moves. You have to wait until he makes an effort. And when you do talk to him, be like, balls in your court, dude. Yes, but I took a hiatus. Okay, so here's the thing, right? If you're thinking about starting something new, it looks like, according to the cards, you've already started it. So are you going to be starting a new platform altogether on OnlyFans? Are you going to rebrand your page? Are you going to go and do work with other people? Like, what's the deal? Because it's really saying that you need to think about and really strategize what your area of focus is going to be, right? So Page of Swords is like, if you're going to create, for example, a podcast, or if you're deciding that you want to do collaborations with other people, you have to come up with a business plan. You have to like map it out. Page of Swords is saying, don't just go at it kind of chaotically, being like, I'll try this, 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 and this and see what works, right? And also, it's saying that you kind of like abandon something and you need to create a foundation before you decide that you're going to make it bigger, right? So regardless of what the business is, whether you have a YouTube channel or you have a podcast or something, if you started doing something and then it was dormant for a while and then you come back, really what it's saying is that if you've jumped ship, you need to do the work necessary to reestablish your base. So rebranding, figuring out a content schedule, figuring out also ways that you can start, you know, kind of connecting with your audience, right? These would be all like Page of Sword things. And making the commitment to sticking it out, because sticking it out is Four of Coins. Walking away is Eight of Cups. So this might mean that you're like, okay, I'm committing to this for what's going to be 4 months or 6 months or a year. And then I will reassess and kind of see, you know, like what's the next step. I personally believe that if you hang on and if you focus on consistency within your base, and that might mean like having set, subscriptions within, your base for your content and then expanding it out from there where you could justify doing collaborations with other people and splitting the money, great. But you have to kind of get that base going. And I also think that the Page of Swords is finding new ways to be able to, connect to your audience. So instead of being like, oh, it's just pictures and video, maybe, there's audio options, or there's, messaging, or maybe there's extra content or extended content, or maybe you have, something else that you're like selling, right? Topless tarot. The other thing I would consider with that Four of Coins is like also knowing your worth, because it's saying that you might go into it and, be super fixated on making money, that you're kind of just like, I'll take whatever I can get. And it really wants you to strategize and plan this out and think about this, because obviously people are going to pay more for collabs if they feel like they know who the people are, because you're going to bring two people together whose content you like. So in order to really kind of justify doing that, you have to really be building up basically the content that you have and what you're, kind of worth. I still feel that I would wait until there's better astrology personally. I mean, I think, and this is something I talked about in my video this last week, how the eclipses are going to be bringing in lots of opportunities for sex work. So, you know, Venus through Virgo makes sense for that. But you're going to see Venus start coming into a trine with Jupiter. And that's going to be around October 21st. So the astrology is a little bit better then. And you could wait until the sun goes into Scorpio. And maybe the moon goes into Pisces. And you're still picking up that trine around the 24th. Because it looks like the 21st is going to be like sun at 29 degrees. But returning to something with that Cazimi definitely makes sense. So come up with a plan. Commit to staying. If you want to do it, that's fine. But you need to be building your base first. And create a structure of how those subscriptions are going to go, and also a content schedule, because this is about consistency and not just walking away. The number one thing I think that's the most challenging with any online content is figuring out, you know, your formula, figuring out, you know, how you're going to be doing it, what days your content drops are going to be, and then kind of conditioning your audience for that, because really what's going to grow your channel is like consistency. We didn't even really figure that out until this like last year. It was like, oh, if we put the videos out on the same day, that's good, the channel grows. And then it was like, oh, well, when the videos come out at 7 a.m., those days when people know those videos are going to come out, the channel grows. So really, it's just consistency, right? And stick with it. If that's something that you really want to do, stick with it. Hopefully that's helpful. Who else do I have here? So we've got Yolette, Dawn, Shiza, Connie, Felicia, Katrina, and Rachel. So if you guys paid for your reading, you'll get your reading. Zelia, did you pay for a reading? Because sometimes your guys' names differ. Let me know. All right, so we've got Yolette. Yolette says, is now a best time to look for a new job, or should I see if things get better at my current job? Well, let's take a look. I would assume we're going to hear a lot of questions about some of this stuff, because Venus going into Virgo is going to be about work, and it's going to, like I said, make oppositions to Saturn. So you're going to see a lot of people with that transit, and also like the Sun square Pluto. There's going to definitely be in the skies for the next week or so a lot of people who are feeling a little disgruntled with work. But let's see if it's a good time for Yolette to be looking for a new job, or should she stay and see if things get better? Well, to me, it looks like you got your work cut out for you right now. It seems as if where you're at now, it's like you're recognizing it's not if, it's when. So there's like a sense of you being like, it's when I leave, when I complete my job here, when I'm no longer having to like kind of do this stuff. 10 of Wands is feeling like you're at the very end of getting ready to like wrap something up. And it's also a tricky card, because it can be a card where you're like, you're about ready to give up, or you're about ready to throw in the towel, or you're about ready to potentially get to where it's too heavy, and then you know, trip over and you fall and you let it all go. So you want to watch for pressure that's kind of going on right now, where you're willing to just kind of say, forget it. I think that if this is where you're at with your job, it's also recognizing, you know, if this is the path that things are going, do I want to feel like this in this position? Is this the right place for me to be working? Am I getting the support that I need? Do I feel like everything is, you know, kind of falling on me? Because sometimes that card can be that. It's like, you know, maybe it's a matter of going and talking to management or HR, or talking to coworkers or bosses and being like, I need help, right? Because to me, it seems like everything is, it's definitely kind of falling on you. But this is a completion card. So usually when this card comes up, literally you'll read in some tarot booklets, it'll say, you're at the very end of, you know, a cycle, like don't give up now, you're almost there, right? Which is basically saying you might have a breakthrough, you might get a raise, you might whatever. But for me, you know, your confirmation card is the Chariot, which is basically saying that you may stay now and see if things get better. You know, I don't think you're going to have a job change right now. That's not really what the cards are saying. It's saying that you're recognizing that where you're working and the way that you're working is not sustainable. So it's a matter of going to the people who support you at work and being like, I can no longer work under these conditions. This isn't working for me. Can we fix this? Is it possible to fix this? And really give it your all to try to see if it is possible to make that happen. If not, then I do believe it's going to be about you going, okay, I have done my due diligence to try to see if we can remedy the situation and better things. Things aren't getting better, so I'm actually actively looking for something else, right? And I think that that's what's going to be kind of going on for you. It does not mean that it has to happen right now. In fact, I think doing so feels a little chaotic because the Chariot card is about not always having all your ducks in a row. So it's equally not the time to be like, I quit and not having a job. I would try to see what you can do to let people know that you need more support in your current position to see if you can remedy this. And if you don't get the response that you want, or if you don't see the changes that you want, then the Chariot says that you're going to actively go looking for something that's going to be better for you emotionally and physically, right? But it looks like you're going to do your damnedest to try to see if you can remedy the situation while you're there. But like, look, the Chariot can be good. It can be saying it's pushing you out of a situation where you're kind of getting to a point where unless these things were happening and so in your face, you may not have left. Right? So if things don't get better, it's only kind of pushing you out of the nest. Hopefully that's helpful. So I've got Dawn, and Dawn says, one card, Virgo rising. All right, so let's see for Dawn, what do we need to let her know? Ooh, that's a great card. Gemini Sun, Cat Moon, Virgo rising. Is that you? Sacred Secrets? Is that you, Dawn? The card that you get is the Six of Wands, which is about victory, positive outcomes, being well received, really seeing things kind of fall into your favor, some kind of celebration, things really kind of playing out for you in a way where you're feeling like there's like an accomplishment that's being made. I think that's wonderful, especially like after coming out of the retrograde that you've been having, and like maybe there's been some challenges with communications with other people. I could definitely see this as planets in Virgo are trining Jupiter, Pluto, Uranus. There has been so many opportunities for you to be like seeing the bright side of things, or recognizing that you are learning lessons that are very valuable, maybe planning trips, maybe continuing education, feeling more spontaneous, being a little bit more connected to your belief system. All of these things are kind of coming up for you in your astrology right now. Definitely difficult with the Venus retrograde, but I think that now that you're coming out the other side, this is saying like, okay, I learned something from this and I'm feeling more optimistic about what the future holds. I also think that for you, I'm wondering like with these eclipses, there is a lot of setting intentions now revolving around money, resources, and self-esteem. So there can be a sense of you coming off of this period where you feel like you've had to overcome issues with relationships or overcoming things in regards to your own self-esteem. And like now you're setting the stage for it needs to be this or better. Money things can be coming up, which for me, the Six of Wands is very positive. It's saying like, things playing out in your favor, or people being really open to what you're selling, or being open to talking to you about giving you more. And I wonder with that being connected to the Six, if this is also going to be about you, possibly making some changes, revolving around, where you're working, how you're working, your routines, coworkers, collaborations, maybe having some positive outturns in regards to your health, or your habits, because sometimes this card comes up where it talks about finally breaking a habit, or finally letting something go, or cutting something out. So I think that could also have connections to, Pluto and your sixth house. I wonder, like, are you planning on going back home? Sometimes this is a homecoming card. Are you planning on going and spending time with family? Are you seeking some kind of final kind of completion with like a living situation or a home or family situation? Because, you know, that can also be the other indication that can kind of come up with this card as well. Oh, the number means something. Okay, feel that energy coming out the other side. Yeah, it has not been the easiest, especially if you've got, you know, Capricorn moon. I can only imagine. You know, Capricorn moon at the Pluto transit is a lot of breakthroughs in how you communicate and express yourself. And it can bring up some really heavy situations with like a mother figure or women, a lot of emotional purging. And, you know, you're on the other side, you're coming out of what's going to be another conjunction to your moon that will be taking place over the new year. So I think of like a Venus retrograde in your fourth, a Mercury retrograde in your fourth and Pluto on your moon, healing childhood issues and issues revolving around your roots. And so I wonder, do you have to go home to do that? Are you visiting family? And does that bring more of that up? Because that's potentially, you know, that's potentially what's taking place. Completing things, yeah. But being victorious in the process, being like, okay, you know, I made it through. Well done, good job. So we've got Shiza and then Connie and Felicia. Shiza says, Aquarius, born on February 18th. I had a check-in with you when I will find my second job, and you mentioned sometime in November. Can you check to see if anything has changed on the timeline for my second job? I got you. So let's take a look. Has anything changed on the timeline for picking up a second job? All right, so here we have Aquarius, Sun, Leo, Moon. Okay, don't worry about your rising. So we've got 7 of coins, right? So that could quite literally be talking about, you know, increments of 7 days, 7 weeks. 7 weeks still lands you in the November period. To me, this is saying like working hard, doing your due diligence, trying to plant the seeds and see what is possible and what could be coming in. So it's not happening because of lack of you trying, okay? Because it's very obvious that you're looking, you're doing everything that you can to find something. For me, this is a card that also talks about quality, right, over quantity, really being selective and being choosy about where am I planting my seeds and the kind of companies that I'd be working for, or the kind of people that I'd be working for, or the schedule. Am I going to like it? Like, is it going to be conducive for me having a healthy, happy life? So it tells me that you may have options that are coming up and you're having to make difficult decisions revolving around whether or not it works for you or whether or not it works for your schedule, or if you feel like you would be wasting your time. Because that's the biggest concern with the 7 of coins is, am I wasting my time doing this? Is it going to pay off? So I would say, no, you're not wasting your time applying for jobs. I would question how often you're doing it, what is the outlet in which you're doing it? You know, are you doubling down instead of just applying for things? Are you posting your resume? Are you maybe talking to a headhunter, or maybe looking into somebody who could help you with job placement? I mean, that might be something else that you would consider, because he recognizes you can only do so much, right? You can only do so much on your own, or you only have so much time. So I'm wondering, if you're looking for a second job, is this being like, I've got a job and I'm trying to find another job, and, you know, I'm spending my time, my free time trying to find something, and like, am I wasting my time? So it might be about how you're going about it. The confirmation card that you got also is the 3 of coins. So it does make me feel like you are going to be working with other people. That is coming. That's the confirmation. And also working with a group of people where you're going to be working well. Like, there is a sense of you guys really working well together and there being like a good combination there. And it can also talk about like perfecting something and having a skill, or having enough people that would potentially convince you maybe to like make a job altogether. So I don't know, make a change in your job altogether. I don't know if that would be like trying to get you to work there full time, or saying, hey, we have work, if you want it, come work with us, or we're willing to, you know, give you more or train you. This can be about working with people who are going to help you kind of perfect your craft as well. So I do feel like this is quality. I like the 3 of coins for quality, and also for having people who are helping you work as a team and having good people around. Would there be a good offer in November? Yeah, no, this is quality. Yeah, this is a good offer. Yeah. And like I said, I have a feeling that you're going to look at this and be like, is there room to grow? And maybe it's that they offer you something part-time, but it could become full-time and it could be better paying. Maybe it's that you get in there and you get some kind of training in like one way or another, and you're like, oh, I actually really like doing this kind of work, and it ends up becoming something that's like productive and you've got community. Because Three of Coins is about working with other people, right? So definitely, yeah. Did I lose you? Are you here? But look for possibly like having a meeting with 2 other people. Or it could be that you're going back and forth between 2 offers. But the Three of Coins sometimes for me is like a job interview where you sit and you're talking to 2 people, or that there might be hiring more than 1 person at a time. They might hire 3 different people looking for remote. So then the Three of Coins is basically saying that it might mean that you're having to go through several rounds of going back and forth with them. But it does look like there is something coming, and it's going to be quality, but you're going to have to be kind of choosing like, okay, is this worth my time? Whatever it is, it's going to be something that you're going to be building up within the company, right? Hopefully that's helpful for you. I've got Connie. Connie says, hello, my dear. Question is, what do you see anything new coming in for love or old I should run from? Okay, so you're asking, is there anything new coming in or old that you should run from? I'm a Taurus sun and moon Leo rising. Well, girl, you got that eclipse coming. That's going to be in your 10th house, conjunct Jupiter. Very good for business. You got Pluto coming back into your 7th house in the new year, so lots of change with relationships. Let's take a look. Let's see. Good luck, Lily. All right, so what does Connie need to know about love right now? Any direction here? Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so for me, it's like if something's in the past, it's in the past. And I'm not going to tell you what to do, but for me, this is very much a Pluto card. So it is possible that there are some things that maybe you're kind of like, could they come back? Could this work? Like, are we going to, potentially be a thing? Can I trust this? Am I seeing clearly? Ooh, be careful here. I personally think that, for you, the 7 of Cups can be about getting tempted into stuff, being idealistic. There can definitely be a sense of you looking at things being like, is there a possible future with this person? Should I move on? Like, there can be a sense of there being too many options right now. So I don't know if this is like you weighing all of those options or you kind of having one foot in and one foot out. I would be very careful with being too idealistic with relationships, too idealistic with love. If something works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If somebody's coming back and they're promising you the world and you're not entirely sure as to whether or not they're going to come through, I would say just don't put all your eggs in one basket, because nothing right now seems very stable. I think about like, especially, next year when we begin to see a lot of planets, in the new year go through Aquarius. It's going to be like Mars, Venus, Pluto all go into Aquarius. And that's going to be a really big turning point for relationships for you. I also think about how, you're a Leo rising and, you've seen this Venus retrograde take place in your natal 1st house, which is how can I be better to myself? And what do I need? And what's going to make me happy? And like, what's most important to me? And how do I feel outside of what's going on at work or relationships or home, right? It's not really about relationships right now. It's more about what moves you're making to feel like you're in control. The 10 of Swords makes me feel like there may be some definitive endings or some need to cut somebody off. And it's really stemming from, knowing your worth, right? The Queen of Pentacles is like, it needs to be this or better. Really high standards, low expectations. It is the card also for Taurus because you're an earth sign. This can be about you focusing on really nurturing yourself right now, focusing on your resources, knowing that you're not really willing to put yourself in a position where you're jeopardizing your financial health, your professional health, your physical health, and also like not willing to make sacrifices also with your finances. I mean, that's a weird card for it to be coming up in regards to relationships. I'm wondering if there's a sense of you being like, there's this person that I like and I don't know, they want to open a business together, or he wants me to invest in something. Like there can be a sense of people coming in that you could have a potential romantic connection with, but it's being kind of clouded, right? So for me, it's like mixing emotions and money, like, you know, tread lightly, be very careful, because you might be potentially making some decisions right now that you're like, okay, I'm either investing myself or investing something financially, or we're doing some kind of work together. And like, if it didn't work in the past, it ain't gonna work in the future. And if it's something that is still brand new, I would be very careful with how deep you want to get involved with this. Confirmation card is the 7 of coins. And that was a shuffle deck. So that's basically saying, once again, be careful where you're planting your seeds. Be careful where you're dedicating time and energy to other people. These eclipses are really big for your career at the end of October. You know, it's like you learning how to communicate differently this month, learning how to tell some people, no, not anymore, not yet, I'll get back to you. People from the past can be reaching out to you for sure. It is very possible. But I would still be very careful about who you're engaging with right now, because I feel like, you know, this is about where you're going in the future. Jupiter, Uranus in your 10th house is my future business, my future life, my future commitment, my future relationships, which leads me to believe that there's probably newer people coming in that you have a better shot with than some of the people who you're potentially dealing with in the past, especially if there has been miscommunications, misunderstandings, or some like really painful endings. If some of those people are coming back around, I would not do that. Be careful with how you're spending your time this month, because it needs to be spent more on you and what's going on with you in your home. And as a Leo rising, you're going to get pulled in all different directions, because planets go through Scorpio in your 4th house, and you're like, my home, my family, my kids. And then you've got oppositions with your career house, squares to your 1st house. Relationship stuff is going to be decided upon more January, February, March of next year. You're going to see that be a really strong theme. And then in the spring, in April, you're going to see Jupiter and Uranus come into conjunction. And for many Leo risings, it's going to be a big change in regards to your relationships and being in a much more public relationship, right? But because you're like boss lady, you need people who are clear and direct, and they know what they want and where they're going, because you're not gonna waste time with people who don't have a vision, right? See what else is coming up. Be careful with who's hanging around from the past. I've got Felicia, Katrina, and is it Katrina or Katarina? Katarina and Rachel. Let me catch up with the chat here. I just noticed, sorry, it's my first time. You're welcome. Good luck. What's up, Jessica? I will be back with astrology next week. No worries, Zelia. Yeah, if you wanna make a PayPal payment for the difference, I'm happy to read for you, because I know you already sent some money in. All right, so let's do Felicia. Virgo rising. Will my ex come back again? We broke up 3 years ago with intention to get back together. We're both focusing on career and self, but I can't shake this feeling of being with him ultimately. Should I just forget about it? Are all you Virgo risings okay? I feel like so many of you guys are being like hit with the ghost of ex past. All of you. It's Saturn and Neptune, you guys. I'm telling you right now. It's Saturn and Neptune. You have had Mercury going through your 1st house retrograde, which makes you guys think about things more deeply and the direction of your future. And if you have control, it's in opposition to Saturn, which means other people's limitations and miscommunications can hold you back. And it's also been in opposition to Neptune, which means you're kind of like, am I going to be alone? What's going to happen? Where are they going? Be very careful. If you're a Virgo rising and you're listening to this, be careful. Katrina, like the hurricane. I like that. The drink, not the storm. All right. So let's take a look. Let's see, Felicia. It's been 3 years that you guys broke up with the intentions to get back together. That's a lot of trust in a relationship. Focusing on career and self, but you can't shake the feeling of being with him ultimately. Should she forget about it? Yeah, I know. You guys are not okay, man. I've seen a lot of Virgo risings. And I feel like a lot of you guys are giving your guys' partners way too much slack. Okay, so what do we see here, guys? What do we see here? We don't see this very often. We see 3 major arcana cards. There's only 22 in the deck. So when 3 cards come up, it's kind of like a, hey, pay attention, this is a big deal right now. It can mean that things are like really changing. Hierophant talks about commitment, tradition. It talks about finding your place in society. This is traditionally a card of marriage. This is a card that's also about Taurus, which is security, it's consistency, it's groundedness. I think about Virgo risings, and in spite of the Saturn-Neptune mess in your 7th house, which is a lot of confusion with relationships, you have Jupiter in your 9th. So it could quite literally be like, where somebody's not giving you what you want, you might meet somebody at a distance, go on a trip, go back to school, travel, you know, and then suddenly meet someone, right? Out of the blue. Because Jupiter's your traditional 7th house lord. And Jupiter and Uranus are going to meet next year, which means you're going to have the opportunity to meet somebody at a distance, maybe relocate, maybe move, do some kind of training for work, and then boom, somebody shows up. In the long term, in 2 years, Saturn and Neptune are going to meet in your 7th house, which means if partners are not sober, if they're not mature, if they're not clear, if they're not honest, and if they're not ready for commitment, like marriage, 7th house, or having kids, the conjunction, you know, to Neptune, and making that a reality and being clear and like dealing with mental health issues or addiction issues, like no dice, right? So essentially what's going on right now for a lot of you guys is like, it's not so much you, it's other people that have to get it together. So the question is, with the Hierophant, what is it that you want? What is it that you're looking for? It's not so much like an age thing. You know, I've had people have Saturn go through their 7th house and they're 19 and it's like their first real relationship. I've had people have it go through there when they're 60 and it's like the first time that they get married. So what's happening right now is you have to get clear with like what kind of a life you're wanting to build and whether or not that person is going to be able to facilitate your vision for what you want. God bless Virgo risings, because you guys have Pisces 7th house, which is really messy. It means that they're kind of whimsical and creative and spiritual and sensitive, and also they can kind of hide away a little bit, and there's some other sides to it. So I personally kind of feel like for you, it's about you also, maybe the Hierophant's like talking to an elder, talking to a coach, talking to a therapist, talking to a priest, somebody who's going to give you some kind of like advice, right? Definitely not me. But then you have like the Chariot card. So the Chariot is basically saying like, once you've made a decision about what you're hoping to commit to, right? And this is also in the past, by the way. So I don't know if it was like you saying to each other, we're going to get married, we're going to do all these things, but we need to figure our shit out. So like, let's just go and do our life and, you know, figure out our career so we can come back together and do these things. The question is that where things stand now, is it actually actively going in that direction? You know, look at the actions, the Chariot. What actions are they taking? This makes me feel like this is about you really looking at this and going, am I holding myself back? Am I keeping myself from moving? Am I keeping myself from moving forward in other relationships? Am I, you know, feeling like the direction of where our lives are going, are we going in 2 different directions? The Chariot can be about trying to get both of the horses, or the Sphinxes in this case, in alignment, because one can be veering to the left and one could be veering to the right, and one's going slow and one's going too quick. And if you don't bring them together, then the Chariot runs the risk of kind of just, you know, kind of going off of a cliff. So I'm wondering where you guys are right now, because I would assume, looking at this, that your guys' lives are going in different directions. That's generally what that can kind of mean. So then the Temperance card is talking about timing, patience, and the right time for everything. So I wonder, have you guys had a conversation, if you broke up 3 years ago, in the recent, you know, past and talked about whether or not you guys are still on that path, and if you guys are still actively taking the necessary steps to move forward to facilitate what you've been hoping to facilitate. Because if not, if they're not making those career moves, if they're not making those moves to work on themselves, if they're not doing the things that you guys talked about to get to this ultimate goal, then the Temperance card can be basically saying there is a need for healing. And there is a need for, you know, everything at the right time. Like what might take several years for you to get somebody else to get their shit together. You could meet somebody tomorrow and in 6 months they could be like, let's move in, like, you know, let's be together forever. So don't let like the timing thing affect you, because that's not the problem here. The problem is the other person. He's a Virgo. I want a healthy relationship. Neither of us are ready. I'm healing and want to be super successful, which I'm okay with waiting longer, but I don't know if he sees us together, if I should keep waiting. He's working on himself, which is why he's not back. Well, that's great, but you got to keep things moving, right? And I would say this to any Virgo rising, and to some extent, even some Libra risings, early Libra risings. You have to look at people without rose-colored glasses. You got to take the glasses off. That's Neptune. When Neptune's in your 7th house or conjunct your 7th house cusp, you are not seeing things clearly. That person is going to be either self-sabotaging, not being honest, hiding out, you know, not being forthcoming, abusing something, or, you know, lying to themselves. That's what Neptune in the 7th house is. So what's going to happen then is, like, you know, you're eventually going to see Saturn and Neptune come into conjunction, and you might realize, like, this is not love. They're not loving themselves. And by them not doing the work they need to do, they're not appreciating me. Or they're not, you know, staying the path. What's weird is that the card that I got for you is the Three of Cups, is a confirmation card. No, I don't think it's a matter of, oh, okay, I misread that, I'm ready to forget and move on. I don't think you're wasting your time, but I think that the more that you're really dedicated and committed to the Hierophant being like, what are my goals, and the Chariot, which is where am I going and how am I going to achieve that, the less kind of committed to the idea you are that it has to be him. And the confirmation card with the Temperance is saying everything in due time, and the Three of Cups is saying there's another person in the mix. And I don't think it's for him, I think it's for you. So it's letting you know what you're looking at as, oh, I'm doing all this work waiting for him to come back. It's like, no, he's not coming back because there's probably somebody else you're supposed to be meeting. And I would really pay attention to when you have transits through your 7th house, or when there's transits in conjunction to Jupiter, because it'll probably manifest for you as a situation where you end up meeting somebody who could very well be that person who's ready. So don't get stuck in the idea of, I'm waiting for him, he hasn't gotten it together. It's like, okay, this isn't going clearly. Like, I'm supposed to keep things moving to see what else comes in. Because I do think you're going to get what you want either way. I think it's about wrapping your head around the fact that it could potentially be somebody other than him, right? Good luck. Let me know how that goes. Katrina, and then Rachel. Katrina says, I was wondering about the future of my marriage and what it looks like. We've been together since we were 17. We had our 22nd wedding anniversary this year. I am a Gemini rising, Virgo sun, and Leo moon. And he's a Taurus rising, Aquarius sun, Aries moon. Woof. So, I mean, your astrology with the Gemini rising, Jupiter crossing your ascendant in this next year is just giving you more independence, but nothing's necessarily changing. But he, being a Taurus rising, has been going through 2 years of eclipses in his 1st and 7th house, where he's probably been a little restless, a little bit more self-focused, maybe even a little torn between, you know, what's going on with work and his needs. And the South Node of the 7th is not always the most attentive to relationships and partners. And now we've got eclipses on his moon in the 12th house. So he's going to be acting like a little private. Not like he's hiding things, but he's just he'll be a little bit more private and a little bit more reclusive. But let's see. Let's take a look. Let's see what your cards say in terms of the future of your relationship. And 22 years is nothing to scoff at, so you must be doing something right. So what I have here for you is the moon card. Okay? So for me, you know, looking at this, the moon card makes me kind of feel like is it possible that there's something subconsciously that you're thinking about or that you're feeling? It's like, did you feel like there was like a subtle shift? Are you getting the impression that there's potentially going to be some change going on around the eclipses? Are you getting the feeling that maybe he's going through something and he's like a little bit more emotional than usual, right? The moon is something that is subconscious that we don't always see coming until it like pops up. I personally feel like this can also be talking about where you can tell that a shift is coming and you're trying to figure out how to talk to him about navigating it. You know, naturally, when Jupiter goes into your sign next year, you're going to be feeling like you want to travel more, or you want to relocate, or you're going to be feeling like you want to get out and you want to do something different. And we've already seen some retrogrades and stuff in your 4th house, so that's already kind of been on the horizon this last couple of weeks. Yeah. So if somebody's a Taurus rising with an Aries moon, they need privacy. And they'll go through periods of being like, I just want to be left alone, or like I need to go to the gym by myself, or I need to be going to church by myself, or I'm reading alone in my bedroom, or I'm staying up late and, you know, I'll come to bed later. Part of it is the changes with the eclipses, and also the South Node going through Libra in the 6th house. You might want to watch also, because a lot of Taurus risings are having some health issues. Back problems with South Node eclipses in the 4th, in the 6th, changes with schedule, changes with work, and he can be not always talking about his emotions and his feelings, and it can manifest as affecting his health. But the moon card doesn't really make me feel like he's, like there's issues that he's hiding from you. That's not really the feeling that I'm getting. The confirmation card that I get for you is the 8 of Swords, so it's about not talking about maybe stress or anxiety, maybe not being completely open about some kind of tension or where he's feeling like restless. And I would say I think a lot of it is the squares. If he's got a Taurus rising with an Aquarius sun, that tells me that the challenge that's going on right now is where he's being kind of pulled between changes going on at work and like feeling like he needs more independence. So if you give him his space, believe it or not, it'll work in your favor. And I would say Venus, which can be, you know, his partner, his wife, going through the 6th house, can be about the person saying, hey, you know, let's go for a walk together. It's 6th house things. Let's go to the gym together. You know, what can I do to help make you feel better? How can I help you? You'll be a lot more attentive to him, and there will be a sense of you being more, like more willing to kind of help him with whatever his needs are. You may offer to give him a massage if he's stressed out, specifically his back, right, Libra. But also you might be asking him if there's things that you can do to help him feel better so he feels supported. And you want to watch in November because planets will go into his 8th house where Sun, Mercury, Mars are there, and it'll oppose all of his planets in the 1st. And he'll feel like a partner is like attacking him, and there's going to be a lot of stress at work. So try to work with the Libra transits, give him the space, and also be like, how can I help you? And things relating to his schedule, putting his clothes away, picking things up, leaving little notes for him. That's very Libra in the 6th house. Being considerate and letting him know that you support him. Yeah, he will, but he's probably going through a Chiron moon transit right now in his 12th house. So that can be really difficult because it can be about not having a positive outlet for his emotions, right? Hopefully that's helpful. Those Aries moons, they get kind of moody. I would know, I'm one. All right, so we've got Rachel. Rachel, how's it going? She says, I need a read on Pajama Guy, please. Oh, you watched the webinar. Cool. So, thank you. I appreciate it. Eclipse is going to be a doozy. I am not looking forward to eclipse season, guys. I've had like 2 years of eclipses hitting all my Scorpio stuff, and now it's hitting my Ascendant and my Moon, so I'm over it. These transits are so ghetto. I'm done. All right, so let's take a look. Let's see, Rachel. What does Rachel need to know about Pajama Guy? I know the story. Of course I know the story, and I'm laughing at this card. Okay, so before I show you the confirmation card, Queen of Swords. She's come up a couple times tonight as well. I love that the Queen of Swords is coming up in the midst of Libra season. And it's interesting that this can be a card that is associated with Libra, which a lot of people think are just kind of like, oh, they're passive, or, you know, they can't make a decision, or they're wishy-washy, or they're very surfacey. But there is another side to Libra energy. It's very direct. It's about when they do make the decision, they're very firm. It's also about what is fair, what is balanced, right? Very velvet glove, iron fist. So when the Queen of Swords comes up for me, it's like, it's about just telling somebody what's up, and not in a way that's aggressive. That could be Queen of Wands, who's just going to kind of like, you know, beat somebody up or kind of beat somebody down. But the Queen of Swords is with direct communication, intellect, not mincing words, meaning what you say, saying what you mean, and also being very clear about what your boundaries are, right? She has a sword in her hand, so that's used to draw a line or defend herself. So I think about this and you starting to kind of find your voice and starting to get to a point where you're ready to start telling somebody what is and isn't working for you. I can only assume that's a combination of a retrograde in your first house, and also Jupiter is somewhere around your sun right now. And that gives you the opportunity to be like, okay, this is right and this is wrong. It's about morals. You want to watch out for like wanting to teach or preach to people, because that can be coming up as well. And that can come up with the Queen of Swords. But I think that for you, it's more telling somebody how it's going to go. Not necessarily saying to somebody, this is what I need, or do you want to see me, or how's it going, or what do you think? That's not Queen of Swords. It's like, you know, I'm going, it would be nice if you could join. And if you don't get a response, then you're not reaching back out. If it's, I'm looking for a relationship, call me if you're interested, and not doing the petty kind of back and forth like chit chat with him. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to do that. The confirmation card was the Eight of Cups. So it looks like you either said or you made up your mind that you're walking if XYZ doesn't happen. Or maybe you've said, I'm done, I'm walking away. You know, I'm not doing this anymore. Good things come when Jupiter is on your sun. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, your sun, you know, I know it has connections to your 12th house. It might mean that your subconscious is telling you that there's a lesson here, and the bigger picture is that there's another person, or that there's going to be another opportunity. Also, the 9th house could be a second husband. So even if you weren't married, you know, if you had kids with somebody, you might have already burned your 7th house. So you might already be in your 9th house. So if you're looking for commitment in a relationship, you know, especially as a woman, if you date men, Jupiter on your sun is like a really good transit. You only get that once every 12 years. So, you know, even with Jupiter going retrograde and coming back into conjunction with your sun, you don't want to waste that year with people who don't know what they want. And you're going to have a sextile also between Jupiter and Saturn. So while Jupiter's on your sun, lighting you up, making you realize there's a big world out there. There's a lot of people, you know, I could meet somebody, I could travel, I could connect with somebody. And the sextile to Saturn is that might actually bring some kind of commitment if you're staying open to what else is out there. But I really feel like this is about you making a commitment that you're not just vocalizing, you're actually acting upon, and also maybe telling somebody like, that's a wrap, I'm out of here. I would assume probably, you know, around the time that you start seeing the eclipses, you know, for a lot of Virgo risings, it's so funny to see like the South Node eclipse in Libra and planets going through your second house in the South Node. It's going to be about literally giving up relationships. Second house is what we possess. Libra is people. South Node is letting it go. So whether this is you saying I'm no longer holding on to this relationship, or I set this person free, or I'm not holding out for them, or I'm not going to, you know, I'm getting rid of all of their text messages, or I'm getting rid of all the gifts they gave me. There's something going on there that's going to happen around the eclipse. And you'll see a Kazemi right around the time of the eclipse, which means there's an epiphany about being like, oh, I never had them to begin with. Oh, and I'm, you know, dragging my feet over letting them go, but I never really had them. Okay, they're gone. And you're going to see the sun, you're going to see Mercury square Pluto. And that's going to be you realizing like, you know, even if I did have them and if we were together, does it make me feel good? Do I feel loved? And is having that status and that being like, that's my boyfriend or that's my partner, does that really mean that I'm safe and secure? And like, you know, it's kind of like realizing you might have really fixated on having something that you never had, or what you did have didn't really bring you pleasure to begin with, as much as I hate to say that. And I think that maybe it's about really kind of vocalizing. I mean, literally, sometimes this card comes up where you sit down and you have a conversation with somebody and you go, I can't do this anymore. And then like you get up and walk away, you know, like it sounds dramatic, but that might happen. It might be you being like, I'm leaving this here, you know, just food for thought. But I think you kind of made up your mind. Maybe it's just a matter of like when you're going to be executing that, if that makes sense. Yeah, damn Neptune. Libra risings, get ready. You're next. You are next. S says, can you please elaborate on the eclipses affecting you? I feel the same way. I'm a Scorpio sun, Libra moon, and I'm learning more about astrology. Well, Scorpios are getting hit with the eclipses because the end of October, the eclipse is in Taurus, so it's relationship oriented. And then Libra energies are getting hit with the eclipses because the South Node is there. So it means that there's like a releasing and letting go. And if you're a Libra moon, then this is going to be about, you know, clearing out things revolving around relationship to home, past roots, and family. And the South Node transit on your moon can be about being a little bit more emotionally detached, is what I would assume. And kind of like having a difficult time expressing your emotions. I wouldn't know. I'm an Aries moon, so the North Node's on my moon, so I'm acting like a crazy person, probably until the beginning of the year, and then it's gone. Then I'm over it. No more. Too much Aries moon. Too much Aries moon. Thank you guys for the feedback. I appreciate it. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Rachel. Keep us updated. I will be back on Sunday. We're going to do astro weather. I'm not even sure what we're really going to talk about yet, to be honest with you, so I can't tell you. I can just tell you that we're coming into eclipses, and we're also coming into some Mars square Pluto shenanigans. So the next week is intense. Make sure you're subscribed. Click the bell button below. Head over to my website if you guys want to check out my courses. I teach tarot. I teach astrology. I have those eclipse webinars. I also have a bunch of calendars and other things. So if you guys like the calendar that I made, I sell that on my website. And you can book one-on-one readings with me there as well. Next week we will be back. We're going to do Astro. It's going to be on Thursday. I'll put out some reminders for you guys to let you guys know so we can do those donation eclipse readings before the eclipse. But yeah, you guys can come back to this video. You can leave me comments below. Let me know how your readings play out. As always, thanks for your likes, comments, shares. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for spending your Friday night with me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see all of you guys very soon. Take care.